Now, the EPA has enormous influence in America, and as a superpower in a big country, we should use some influence in the world. We should come together and see how we can solve our common problems because we all contribute to the problems, and we all are going to suffer from the problem of the problems. And I want to look at some pollution and waste situations here. Now, EPA should encourage businesses that, look, we are for business, open your business, but before you open your business, give us an assessment, waste management assessment. Let us know your process. Let us know the waste that you expect to generate and what we can do with it. Now, um, say um, what we encourage them to do is to look around and use different type of inputs so that at the end the waste product it could be manageable and and it could be used properly and so on. So um, let me say this place is going to be making a certain edible product or some chemical product or whatever is the end the product. And so the waste that they have, instead of throwing it in the polluting environment, how are you going to sort of engineer that product so that the wastes are such that you can use to do something else? Say, for example, we come with a strategy where we can combat carbon dioxide. We create an acid, or we're able to mix it with calcium hydroxide, for example, and form calcium carbonate. Now, calcium carbonate, you could use it for a base of paint, putties, and other products. So it's either you take the waste product and you add another something that chemically or whether it's a mixture or what, of course it can be poison, but you mix it in such a way that you could create another product which could use in another industry or to create a new product. So, and then also you make products in which the waste from after you get out the utility of it and you want to throw it away, then we could recycle whatever it is. Um, also you make things that it would be easily recyclable so that you don't have to spend a whole 100 years trying to recover what we're going to recycle. And for example, like paper, we know that we get paper from trees, but couldn't there be another product that we could make paper with? Maybe calcium. Well, I don't know, but some other thing that we could add in something to it, throwing something else, and make paper perhaps. And we could pay people not to cut down the trees because if this country was cutting down trees for paper and we could recycle all the paper, then let us charge a fee on it so that we could pay them not to cut down trees, so that it would be there to take in some of the carbon dioxide, reduce the runoff of water, rainfall into the lakes and whatever. And what I studied in high school was that in geography there was a marshland with trees and all that, and it was a swampy kind of area. So the guys went in, they cut down the trees. And you know what? All the water disappeared. Well, it's going to disappear through evaporation. Keep to the sun and will be hitting it straight up. And I think that God was protecting trees by allowing somehow the water to remain there so the trees could have adequate water supply. But when you cut down trees, there's no need for the water from the trees and so on. So the place became a dry land. And then, of course, topsoil would blow away and then it becomes a barren and becomes like a desert and no longer grow. So this is what we ought to do. Show us the end product. Let students and other people come up with different things that you could do with the waste product. And then, even if the business hasn't completed that thing, we don't want to obstruct business, but, let us see how we could sort of keep the study going until we find a way. And then, of course, keep changing, your inputs so that you could get the right waste, that you could do it in a way that, it would be sort of another product, or we could use it for roads or something like that, as opposed to throwing it in the landfill. And so I think the EPA has a strategic position. And also, we could extend the jurisdiction of the EPA. Should we go worldwide with other nations' objectives? No, we could work with them. Say, look, we have some expertise here, and we want to work together to make this world which is all of our country better. Because when you had the Chernobyl disaster, milk in Britain was showing radiation. I think even in Canada, it even came to here to America. So look, the dust from the Sahara comes down here to Puerto Rico. So, it's one country and we ought to be concerned. I mean, we can't go in and beat them up if they don't want to do it, but there are other ways we could, use that big stick, carrot and the stick. Look, now we're going to help you out here. We're going to share technologies with you. We're going to help this and that and whatever. But right now, gathering in the midst of the Pacific, it's waste. Bottles, plastic, styrofoam, and all that kind of stuff. Why can't we look at the whole world? Because, who knows if the Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea and all these seas gather things and then somehow gets into the Pacific, which might be a mighty ocean, and then it gets into a doldrum and then it's gathering there. It's going to affect marine life and so on. So, like I say, primarily the Pacific Basin marine countries, let us get some money. Let us find some big fishing vessels to go and sort of like throw out the fish and get all that garbage, load it up like fish, bring it inland and take care of it so that we protect the ocean as it were. And then, in space, all nations that have done space exploration, we're not going to look at the fuel burning out there, but the junk that's out there, the bolts and nuts, the pieces of satellites and all that stuff, we could have a vehicle that could go up there just to pick up all that stuff. We know it, we could track them with radar. And, it seems to me that if you're coming against it, it's going to be a disaster. But if it's going around east to west, you go behind it east to west, and you come to speeds just as fast as them so that you're not going faster so you can hit it and damage you. But you're just gradually going like how the spaceships and the space station hook up. They keep chasing each other around, and then they gradually go, and then of course the hook in, and everything is good. So we keep chasing these things around, and we have a magnet that is just collecting them. And then we have a bay where we dumping it in, and when we have enough, and then we just come back to Earth, ground it, and so on. And in a way like this, we could avoid a space accident. I'm quite sure that there's no meteoroid, no planet, nothing that hit Earth. There's going to be any collision. There's a good God that's control that. But our man-made things would be a problem. And with space flight and so on, they could puncture a tank and cause, the loss of human life, etc. So we should go up there and clean up that too. Don't wait until the Lord comes back to clean up everything. Let us, work with Him to clean up the oceans and clean up the in space. And lastly, those chemicals that we're throwing into the waterway, like bleach and so on. Why don't we come to the strategy? Perhaps, maybe we could even deal with homes. The oils, the cooking oils that they spend, we have a location where to take that, to throw it in, we make soap with that. Bingo. The wash that they wash, maybe we could hook up some plumbing and leave it at a specific place where it goes like soap, and we neutralize it, and we make products out of that, etc. And the big companies, especially, we can start with big companies that do bleaching. They shouldn't let that bleach get into the ocean, into the waterway, because you see it's acidic, it's going to kill the marine life, the planktons, the various forms, fish, and then we come back to eat the fish, etc. We're just harming ourselves. So let us work together. The EPA, as the Academy of Environmental Science, could spearhead this and help the poor countries and other parts of the world where they're not thinking like that. But we just say, hey, this is something we need to look at. And let us move forward to the next level. Let us solve it. And together we can make the environment a little more hospitable,